Good morning, morning, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Happy New Year. Still in my pajamas, so excuse the attire here. But some lovely channeling, some lovely downloads, clarity, clearing. A lot of lovely things came through to share. But unfortunately, I couldn't come on just now. I had a delivery. I had to wait for the delivery to arrive. So otherwise I would have been interrupted in the middle of the live. So we'll get back to it. So there was a meditation and clearing going on. And some lovely things came through to share, it's a program which is running through humanity. It's been going for thousands of years in the story. So almost everybody has this program, but are unaware so they wouldn't have released it and cleared it. And there are many programs running at the moment unconsciously. Collective consciousness, you can see by the projections, by the predictions, and by what's being projected out there. The future, the world predictions is all uncleared. These are all patterns and distortions in the consciousness which are not cleared. And going way back, a lot of them, wow, a lot of going way back. So to share with all, to bring to awareness, one thing that was shown yesterday is that poor Gaia is being surrounded by a lot of dense dark energy. Because of the goings on and the projections that are uncleared, distortions in the consciousness from humanity's story, or even before, right? Whatever not released in the energy field or the pattern of that consciousness, which is the Maya anyway. There's so much has gone on this planet. So with everything that's going on with the shift and change, hi David, Happy New Year, everybody, hi, hey, lovely to see you. So what was shown yesterday, poor Gaia, I checked in with Gaia, I think it was yesterday. This is just another aspect, just another reflection. It's just a aspect of source playing the Maya, playing Gaia. It's all consciousness anyway, the oneness. So, but what was shown was that poor Gaia, hi, same to you, so much love. What I was shown was she's surrounded by a lot of dense energy. So you know, if you tap into someone or you in the field, one that believes they have a form, and you'll see that energy, this darkness or energy is surrounding them. This is exactly all the density and all they're hanging on to. Now, this is not normal I see from Gaia, and poor Gaia had a lot of this, had to be cleared. So anyone that's doing this, just go to Gaia and just do some clearing, because all these thoughts and projections are being sent out to Gaia. Oh my gosh, we're doomed, this is going to happen, and all the earthquakes. There's so much fear in the collective, projected, just consciousness projected onto Gaia. Fear of this and doom and gloom and catastrophes. So it's putting a lot of dark, dense energy around Gaia. Poor Gaia. So go in there and do some clearing and send some love. And don't project the negative, it's just conscious. Projecting negative outcomes or projections, it's just thoughts, stories onto Gaia. Because you are surrounding her with a lot of dense, dark energy. So there's one request for that. Because it's consciousness, and that's all that you are creating was the Maya. Thank you. Thank you. So there's too much density being shrouded onto poor Gaia, right? To clear. Coming from the collective consciousness and fear. And it's all unreleased things from whatever that consciousness experienced. They just don't realize. It's just projection of the consciousness, which needs to be cleared. Delusions, whatever else nonsense they've experienced in the Maya, in the story of believing you were a human or a form. So there's one. Be aware that Gaia is being a lot of negativity has been projected towards her. She doesn't need that. Anyway, and rather project, because there are many timelines and versions, just consciousness. There is paradise, there is heaven on earth, there is the Garden of Eden, everything is there. And what are you sending out and what is coming back? So it's to project that and thank her, see her as whole, as perfect, as healed, as abundant, as whatever. So there's one, just to share. Then secondly, this is for anybody, body actually, this is about the body, not the person, not the character, that's experienced trauma. And I'm going to give you some clues which you won't be aware of. It's sitting here in the morning and doing clearing and thinking. Look into your story, not yours, but the story that's here in the body, the body's experience, right, in this lifetime. Look into it and see, do you have any patterns that are self-harming to the body? Now, I'll explain why. This is very interesting when you go back into the psyche of the human history of this story. So you might be overeating, you might be drinking, you might have abused the body, drugs, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not eating properly, you don't exercise. Where there is no, pay attention, dieting, dieting and then losing weight, gaining weight, not worrying, not taking care. There's no love and nurture of the actual vessel, of the form, right? So the form just it just works, it's just there, and there's no taking care. Where you're not, there's absolute wellness, where you're taking care of this form. Pay attention to that, because this was noticed here. And I thought, why is this coming up when this one was drawn to the non-dual path? So I'll share a bit of insight, and maybe it'll ring bells, I can tell you what, when you realize where it comes from. Very interesting, and you can link it. So this is a human program and training which has been going on for thousands of years in this Maya, in the story of being human. You've got it. And you will understand why, right, when you hear what I'm saying. So all of a sudden you start the non-dual path, and you realize you're not the body at all. You're not even, you're not just confined to this body. You reject, so it's kind of like a rejection of the form in a way. That's what it sees. You don't realize it's also it's a fine balance, but you don't know this. So it reacts negatively, and gurus will tell you this. So you can get a lot of problems with the body start kicking in when you realize, you say, I'm not the body, because you literally aren't. It's in, but the body is. This is where it's confusing. You're rejecting. All it must be accepted. The body is part of source. There's no separation. The form is part of the one energy, but it's not. So it is part of you because it's all oneness, but it's not you. It's not your identity. This is the difference. It's not your body. You see? Anyway, when you start this thing and you realize this kicks in, it kicks in, right? And then the body starts responding negatively to that, because it's negative perception, or anyway, not that you know this anyway. So you're like, now you don't want to have any identification or ownership of the body. And all of a sudden I started overeating, and I couldn't understand why. Wow, just gaining weight. I had this, all of a sudden it became a negative eating pattern kicked in. And for a couple of months you don't figure out what is going on. It's like self-sabotage of the body. Eating what you shouldn't do. It was just confusion. So you're thinking, okay, what's going on here? There's more to this. Now you want to clear this, because it's not doing you any good. You're sabotaging your health, your wellness, whatever. And that was good. So you're thinking, what if you've gone in the other direction now? And you're thinking, So I sat this morning thinking, okay, let me dig down and find out what's going on here, where this comes from. It's very interesting. So especially if you have trauma anyway. If you've had any sort of trauma, family trauma, which is almost 99.9% of the public characters I should say, in the Maya, haven't cleared this. So you have it, you don't experience it, you've had it down through ancestry, the story, so it's DNA, if you believe, the whole thing. So it's held normally in the body pattern. It's passed down from ancestors, DNA, this, that, patterns, it's energy, frequency, conscious. It's really actually only your consciousness, because there's nothing else but the consciousness. But let's just say for now, most people still, focusing on the form. It's held in the form, which you believe is you. So when you go into this, and it's very interesting. So you think, okay, so when you've had, let's say, lack of love, any sort of issues with family, any abuse in the family, then the body this is what happens. And this is why you see people with trauma will take to alcohol, substance abuse, that's what it is, or any sexual abuse in the family. You neglect the body. You don't want, so you disassociate yourself with the form. The form's a problem. You don't care about the form. There's a harming of the body itself, you say, whatever. There's patterns. It's interesting. Very subtle though, if you don't realize. So you go back, and I'm thinking, all right. So if you look at this, just go and look back carefully. when you're in that state of consciousness, and go scan through your so-called story or history and look at where you've dieted, where you haven't, like, if you haven't been taken is absolute love and well-being, like you've gone to spas and you've taken care of this and you appreciate this and you've nurtured the body, you realize, especially if you've had trauma or there was anything in the family like that, it wasn't there. And another thing, self-sacrifice. Ultimately, when you get back to oneness, which is where you're going, you are source. There's only one here. There's no other. So there's only one, and all forms are it. All characters are it, actually. So what you learn as you see on this path of awakening is to start looking after. Put the self first. People get confused when they think, okay, you've got to start loving the self, taking care of the self, boundaries, all that. They still then, get confused and put it in a box with the body. So the body is the self. No, the body is not the self. It's complicated. The self is source. So nothing is better than you. Yeah. Nothing is better than you, right? This is what you're supposed to be learning. This is why. When you realize you are it, there isn't any others. There is only source. So you are the God source, right? Everyone, everything. Just, it's manifested in a form, playing this game. So you must treat your form as the divine itself. This is where you're going. This is why all the purging and clearing comes up, because you are the divine. You are the absolute divine oneness, pure. So this is why you're cleaning up all the trauma and distortions in the frequency and consciousness, because you are that. Now, if you think of source, if people think, I'm source, I'm this, yes, source. What is source? Whole, complete, oneness, love, absolutely perfect. It's perfect. It misses nothing. It's absolutely perfect, right? So when there's thoughts, frequencies, vibrations, and beliefs that I am separate, I'm not perfect, I'm not good, I'm not whole, a lot of this was also taught to, this is why we have military, sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your life, your form for others. This comes from separation. You see, we get taught to, like, oh, don't worry about yourself, sacrifice your body, die for others, lay your life down for others. This is all human programming, because there are not any others. There's only oneness and the divine. You are that. So basically, this is what you're going to try and clean up everything. So you are in alignment with the self now, with oneness, wholeness, the divine, which is absolute love, pure love, unconditional love. It loves itself. There's self-love, there's self-worth, there's absolute wholeness, oneness, completeness, worthiness, love. That's it. So no, this idea of I have to sacrifice myself and put myself down for others and all that sort of stuff is a negative program, and it's a human program. It is not from the divine. This is what you're here to learn. And this did it many times. I mean, it literally happily put its, body, and it would actually have died, for others. Because this was a program running here as well. I'm not worthy. It doesn't matter about me, my life. Absolutely not. Because you are. This is what you didn't realize. You were never shown. You are that one. Every single one. So you are to treat the self as that with absolute love. That you are, is all these distortions. I'm not good. I'm not this. I'm that. I'm separate. I'm another entity. I'm blah, 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 blah. These are all distortions and beliefs that you, even the fact that you believe that you're a separate one is an ego is a belief. It's not true. You are not separate. You don't have an ego. There is not a separate one. This was a distortion and a belief put into humanity that you're a human, you're separate. No. You are not taught that you are not separate, that you are the one. So you believe you're a human, you're a separate, you are, you see. This is where you're going back to non-duality, oneness, unity consciousness, source consciousness. You were taught to believe that you were not that, which is not true. It's a belief. So I am a person, I'm not source. I am separate. No, you're not. So this is where a lot of this comes from in the vessel. And it comes down from all the wars and other programs you see in the ancestry. Oh, you sacrifice yourself for this one, for the king, for somebody else, lay down your life. Your life is just, I'm not, as though it's not worthy. Some others are better. There isn't anything better than the self. You see, there isn't anything more deserving or more worthy than the self. Not in a narcissistic way, that's what I'm saying. All are that. As long as you understand the self means not the physical body, the character, formless, the wholeness, the one. Self as God source, as the universe, as empty, whatever you want to say. That is the self. But it's conscious. It's only consciousness. So now the consciousness, which you believed, you identified with the form, you've believed it's a story, it was a lie, that you are separate, you have an ego, there's nothing to do with that. You're not separate, you're not an ego, you're not a person, you're not any of that. That was another story, it's a program, belief. So you are clearing all these false beliefs and stories and programs and things from the consciousness. So the consciousness should view it like, say, Sri Ramana Maharshi did. That it is absolute love, it is absolute oneness. It is pure oneness. I guess there were some distortions in believing that the body, because the body really is, it's still part. It's something that Source loves. It manifests. It's still the energy. Same. So there's no separation. I'll say the form. There's no one. Everything is just oneness. So the form is part of that oneness. It's part of that energy. We were taught to not respect it, not to love it, to reject it, and that's actually not the fact. You see, it is not you, and you're not the character, but it is. The consciousness is what's playing here. So it's the belief that's important. So we were taught that the body's this and that. It's not a curse and a problem. Just realize you are not it. It will disappear anyway. But the thought, the belief that is said resonates, I am whole, absolutely divine, whole, complete. So you would then resonate with absolute, that's the whole idea. The resonance should be of pure wellness, of pure love, of absolute wholeness, completeness, pure well-being, absolute well-being and love. So when all distortions are cleared, that's what you would resonate with. Because the source, the creator, the one, doesn't have any of these distortions. It knows it's complete, it's whole, it's perfect, it's divine. It sees nothing but absolute perfection, love, wholeness. You see, completeness. It loves even the story in this. So anything we have that is not in line with that. So when you get your consciousness, the thoughts, which is the consciousness, in line with everything, you cleared, that's it. So then what you're doing is putting the form in alignment with the actual true consciousness of the one. So what I didn't realize was so much of that, my gosh, and you didn't realize when there's been harm or abuse, which is so much in the family, neglect and ancestry and everything, this is what you were taught, you see. And even back then, looking at our gurus as well, this is not what came from, this is taught. This was taught behavior. That the body is, oh no, it doesn't matter, it's horrible, it's this and that. So look what happened. What manifests in some of these beings? Cancer, all kinds of problems. Same with here, because following teachings back from centuries ago, which were distortions in frequencies, that this one straight away started denying the body and rejecting the body. When you realize you are not it, nothing to do with it, you think you have to get rid of it. It's a problem. It's not, you see. So they were like, I don't care about it, don't worry about it, it's not, don't put importance to it. Yes, not to focus that you think. It's just the fact that you realize this form is manifest. It is there, it appears in you, but it is not you and you're not the character. This is what we were taught, to identify with the body and character as it was ours. That's the distortion and ill truth. So you believe you are separate. Source and me, you're not. This is what caused the separation. That's why. So there's a belief that there's no unity, consciousness, oneness, because you are saying and claiming you're not the divine. You're not one. You're not that whole complete, which the gurus tell you and the Buddhas tell you are. This is the thing. So there was a program as well, installed in humanity, that the body is and the minute you do that, what happens? You are anything you reject. You see, same thing. You're not accepting all. You reject it, and you're not loving and honoring what is, which you manifest as the one. Anyway, it's part of the one. So you will have negative consequences, because that's what you're doing, you see. And this was taught, and that's why some of these gurus, had problems and illnesses and that. But it's not the fact. Because think about it. There is. Source loves it all. It's absolutely, the source, the oneness, actually embodies wholeness, complete oneness, pure love, well-being, everything. It's just wellness. It's just everything is, there we are. That's it. There's nothing outside of it, and which is, they'll tell you, there is nothing outside of the divine, and you will find out as well when you start looking and going and asking and, working on that level. You will find that out, that everything is the God source. Everything is at one. There's nothing, and they'll tell you, there is nothing but it in existence, right? So that means it is absolutely whole and complete, which means this is part of it. As they say, the stories appear in it. So you are then rejecting, you see, something you willingly, let's say, decided to lose yourself into, experience, the Maya or whatever, experience what it would be like. So this is where we kind of went off track. And this was learned here, thinking, okay, why is this becoming such a problem? I was having issues. Wow, there's a lot of weight. And the health went down the toilet, and the body picking up bad eating habits and behaviors. And you're like, what is it? Couldn't figure it out, but until you really sat now and wanted to release and clear it and go into depth of it. And then the clarity comes. So there's mistakes. These were just patterns, also what we're taught. You see, this was taught. Most of these things, especially teachings that come through non-duality, oneness, the gurus, the traditional teachings, teach us this. This is what they embodied, because this is what the program that was told to them. You see, they didn't worry about it afterwards. They know they weren't it. But that's not quite, you know what I mean? There was it's also not seeing maybe with clarity, or distortion, or whatever it was. So yes, we don't attach to it. We watch it, we observe it, but we don't also misuse it, reject it. This is the thing, and this is a huge program. And this was seen here. It was wow. Even back to the family, if you realize how many people overwork themselves, don't take enough rest, don't take enough leave. You see, all of these things. This is a real program and this is a huge program in humanity. Not to take care of yourself, which is all the self, the body, the form, which is all you're doing is, playing that anyway. So you overwork, you don't take enough rest. See, there's no balance. There's not taught. The body doesn't matter. Just work. Push yourself, make the limits. So it's like work ridiculously. There's no balance. There's no harmony. See, overwork. Don't worry about stress. Don't worry about you eat. Just get it out there. Where there is complete wellness, you're going to take care of the self in all ways. You're not going to overwork. You're not going to overeat. You're going to, hey, this body, you're going to treat it, and you're going to, let's do you're going to eat properly. You're going to exercise. You're going to sleep well, you see. But how the patterns of society, especially on the recently, went completely the opposite direction, completely distortions. This is what the end of this story, the illusion is. Went into the extreme of distortions of, as went to the opposite. This is where you're going back to the self now, away from destruction, negativity, you're going back to the light, to the wellness light, as you know. So look at the patterns in humanity. Don't worry about yourself. You've got to work so many hours, because this is what others are holding. So these people are giving it to the employees. Oh, work 3 jobs and don't worry about, you just have to suck it up and and sacrifice and survive and work and don't take care of yourself. There's no, you see, there we are. You're not worthy, you're not all these things are projections, negative projections. We are clearing so much on this planet. And this is so much of it where you accept that you will work for almost nothing and you should be just grateful. All of these distortions in the consciousness. But it comes to, what does it come to? The same thing. It comes to wellness, self-love, wellness, worthiness, wholeness, complete, divine. You are taught you're not that. You've got to strive for it. You have to work for it. You have to, you say, it's grace, you're lucky, you're blessed. No, you are it already. You don't have to do anything to believe you achieve that. You are it. The distortion was sold that you were never it. And you have to earn it. You have to work for it. We all sold these programs and beliefs, you see, and that's not the case. It is all that is. So we have to clear those to return to that, and it is absolute wellness, wholeness. There we are. So this is a lesson was learned here. And realizing, looking back and having a look what this one did to this body and all those and wow. I mean, you can just see so many now. It's incredible. Yeah. So this is incredible. I mean, what was, if I look back here, and this was a pattern in the ancestry and family, also lots of trauma and things and old things, you know, that belief, suck it up, and, you know, this is a Victorian, I mean, it comes down, this is a collective thing. And most of it, when it's in the collective consciousness, it's normally then absorbed by the collective. So there's a collective distortion. Same with the negative predictions and expectations of the future. Oh my gosh. Because what they don't realize is the mind is influenced. So the Maya, the illusion, the whole story, this what you're projecting, is created by thoughts by the Maya. So because we've got so many distortions in the collective consciousness that have not been recognized and cleared, these are all been resonating with. This is why you've got these predictions, negative predictions of the future, of destruction, of catastrophes, of this, of that. And when you first awaken, depending on your layer and what you haven't cleared, your frequency and vibration and transmuted, all is a projection of the consciousness here, the outside. So you will resonate with this. People are resonating with all the negativity because they haven't transcended that level yet and understood, I am that. There's no outside world. You see, you are doing it. You've got to clear it, and it will be cleared there. So they are believing when you've got that, you're resonating with all the lower energies, frequencies, and vibrations. So almost all that are here on the planet have experienced some kind of catastrophe, you know, the deluge, the comet strike, Atlantis, you name it, you know, whatever, something. The plague. This is why there's such a fear of illness. They haven't transcended that. They went through the, you know, Second World War. They had the, what was that thing? The Spanish flu and all that stuff. This has not been cleared, you see. So whatever was not released and cleared here is being reflected. So you have this immense fear. This is what it's going to be cleared. Going through, oh, the illness, we're all going to have this, and this is this pandemic fear. This is a collective consciousness that some have not cleared. The destruction, the deluge, we're going to be destroyed, wiped out nonsense is the same story. And this was passed in the Bible, passed down because they did it. So people believe it's going to happen again, and they're projecting this catastrophe onto poor Gaia, this is a story you're creating. You are projecting that. As Atlanteans did, you will project your own destruction and demise, because this is what you are saying and believing and creating in the Maya. So this is not seen by so many. And this was seen here, looking at a lot of people sharing their stories. Oh my gosh, 2024, that's going to happen. And oh, this is going to be bad. And oh, we've got to watch out for that. And this is just a level. This is just, some are stuck. Some wake up and then they get stuck here. Because they're not looking at the self and the patterns and thoughts and behavior. They are waking up and they are following everybody else that's on the awakened journey. Not those that have maybe transcended it and completed the journey. And telling you what reality actually is, and then you realize, oh, it's only a mirror, reflection of consciousness. There is no world out there. There aren't any people when the character disappears. So that means you are projecting all of that, individual people, because you were taught that you are an individual person, and you are not. You are only source. There is only one here. Oneness, as they say, source. That was a collective ill truth that you took on. Now it's to stop believing that you are separate and there's any separate anything. This is, well, so there's a lot of people that wake up and they don't then do this. So they are still believing this. This is sad. So they still believe, and they are following. So they are tapping into the collective, whatever, unhealed consciousness. They're resonating with whatever. Okay, if you still haven't cleared the plague and fear of that, whatever you experienced, whatever it was, there we are, something. You are then one of those that are terrified of any illness that's going on in these plagues, because that's what it is. It's a clearing of the collective consciousness, it's returning to source. So all the distortions are being cleared, but this is not being understood by the collective. Even light workers, when they wake up. So all these fears of, you go through depends on the character and the amount of distortions in the consciousness. It's just represented as forms. It's a story. It's an illusion. You're creating it all. So as the Buddha's teachings will show you. So when you wake up and you start seeing all the negative, dark ETs and more, let's say the demonic realm story, that is the lowest chakra. Those are all fears, base chakra fears, fears of security. Those are survival fears. You've got to transcend all that, and then that will completely fall away. You won't resonate with it. It won't even be in your experience. You'll understand what it is, and it's gone. A lot get stuck there. They never transcend that because they still carry on fighting the so-called darkness, which is their own darkness, not understanding it's theirs. It's in their consciousness. It's been created by their thoughts. They've created this Maya, this whatever they're seeing, whatever they're experiencing. It's teaching them to take their power back, but they don't get that, so they never transcend it. Then you get those stuck on the negative ET thing. Same thing. It's another level you've got to overcome. That's a creation. It's just a timeline. You're tapping in with characteristic. That's why it's reflecting in your consciousness, because you believe whatever you're following, you're saying. What people don't understand is what this absorbs the mind. It's influenced by what it listens to. So you've got to be a little bit more strict on what you're allowing into the mind, thoughts. Because when you're watching negative stories and content, it influences the mind. The mind is a program, the conscious mind. And that's what this is the problem. This is the one that created the illusion. The mind is only thoughts. And it's been trained over thousands of years to survive. It's there to protect the body. So the mind, if it sees anything negative or any doom and gloom, it immediately goes to, oh my gosh, I've got to start looking at, I better make just in case, I've got to start stocking up, and I better do that because I might. This is all it does. You see, it believes it's the body, so it starts survival, panic, fear. This is what's going on in the collective. So be careful of because the minute the mind takes it, the mind's going to start creating all kinds of shit and stories and delusions, because the mind is the Maya itself. The thoughts, the conscious mind. It is the illusion. So this is what they're not understanding. So I see many light workers, starseeds that you start with, that you can see where they are stuck, because they are then reverberating back, not looking at the mirror and understanding my thoughts. Everything is only the self. All of it is. Because they're not seeking the information. Because as the divine, as the one, this is the Maya, it's illusion. This is form, appearing in it, it's story. So it doesn't care what goes on in the story. Listen to any non-dual teacher, or not a teacher, but person that is telling you, they'll just repeat the same thing. That's why gurus didn't interfere. They say, let everything come, let everything go. Because whatever appears in it, it doesn't mind. It knows it is energy, nothing else. And this is only an illusion, a form, empty form appearing in it. It's not the character. It's not even in the body. So it doesn't worry. It watches everything. This is what you actually are. You were taught. This is the problem, that you're the body. So this is where the fear comes from. You're not even in it. And this is why you still perceive the Maya. So there's a lot of distortions there. And there's not that knowing that, oh my gosh, okay, this is where it comes from, you see. It's belief. It's just belief. I'm the body. I'm this. I'm a person. I'm the character. I'm anything. This is the distortion. This is the illusion, the Maya, that the self created. So you, being that one, it watches. You need to transmute it. It watches and just allows whatever you think, whatever you want to create, manifest, it can do it. That's why I say it's unconditional, as they'll tell you, unconditional. It can create anything because it's not any of the characters. It's just, it's just a movie playing in it. It doesn't matter what happens. It's not concerned. This is why there's so many parallel realities and timelines. It is creating all this. So you need to ask or seek that to remove it or clear it or that information. You see? Because whatever you ask, as you know, when you awaken, whatever you ask and seek will be given. manifest. This is what it is. So if you say clear this, release this, it's gone. If you say, all right, you are seeking that information of oneness, wholeness, unity, consciousness, whatever else, from inside, not others. There's so many don't see. They're not seeing lessons I watch. They're giving their power away. Because they're not going up to try and get higher information. So they can learn that lesson. That lesson is there and there, and they keep going around. You see, there is nothing but the self. And you can create anything. So this believing that anything has more power over you, that can do anything to you, doesn't matter what form it's in, it's only the one. That is only a belief. And that's part of the Maya, because you've been taught there are separate in things. There are no separate anybody. There aren't any separate anybodies. You see. So if you believe you're separate, exactly. And then nothing has more power than you. Nothing is more deserving than you, because you are that one. All is it. All are it. Not the form though. You see, you're not the character or the form. You are playing that, not actually, but that's, I say, it's a belief. That's another thing. That falls away when you stop believing that you are a separate one. As these people, as non-dual, anyone would say masters, and they're not masters, but those in form have told you, and many that have missed, there's so much of it, modern non-duality, let's say direct, there's so many, plenty out there now. This is where the self is going to. It's waking itself up. But it's allowing its characters to choose. Those that are still, this can, they're following, you see, the collective, not understanding, hang on a second. If anything is in your consciousness, in your experience, in your external so-called reality, it is a projection of the mind. That's all. Thoughts. It's projecting a story out there. So you are projecting, if you are following any negativity, any bad news, this and that, well, you've got to start realizing, whoopsie, why do I resonate with that, believe that, think it? Because it's only choice. You can choose every single, you're creating story, thought, belief, everything. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of clearing, releasing. So understand, there's a lot that aren't there. You see, they're still believing, that, blah, 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 that the external, everything has power. If someone can do this, still separate people in the first place. That is the foundation of the illusion. This is the foundation of the illusion, that it was taught into the collective consciousness that you are a person, a separate character. You are the character. No, you are not at all the character. And this is not your body. You'll find that out at all. It's operating quite independently without you. It absolutely is, you see. You are the one. All this is the story, the play, that's why the gurus aren't worried, that appears within you. That's the actual truth. So what we are saying out there are the collective, this is what purging, collective distortions. You see, this is all the distortions in the story, collective consciousness. And it's just it's not being identified. So look at what you're identifying with, what you are following and believing, and understand, wow, okay, I need to release that. Why do I, you know what I mean? So you didn't release that energy, you believed, you got wiped out in Atlantis or something else, you see? Yes, exactly, yeah. Exactly, yes. It's just thoughts. It's just accumulation of thoughts. There's no inside either or outside. There's another story. See, we were told we're still identifying with the person. This is the biggest thing. You believe you are a person, you're a separate thing. There's a me and source. That is duality. That is the illusion. That is the actual false. That is the biggest belief that needs to be released. I am not separate. Nothing is. There is no me and someone else. There's a body, yes, but that's it. It's just an empty body, as they'll tell you. So you've got to actually look and release. And this was thing, self-sacrifice, that you're not really, you can abuse the body, you can overwork it, you can eat badly, you can drink too much, you can do this, you can, don't take care of the health of the form. This is a very long gone program, because they belay the form. When they fell, this is just coming through, but when they fell from unity consciousness. Let's say when Atlantis fell down, and started believing exactly this story of being separate, and the nonsense was introduced to humanity. So I think this is where the knowing in a way is. So there's a blame and there's a punishment of the separate, on the separate form and things, because intuitively or knowingly, I think there's a knowing, as people believe in heaven, that's why they always have, that this is not you. So there's a rejection or a punishment almost of this, you see. I think maybe the self is punishing itself for believing it was a form. Wherever it comes from, goes back. So there's a lot of negativity projected towards the form. It's almost, it's its fault, you see. Maybe subconsciously you realize it is, because you believe you are. You've created a separate entity which doesn't exist. This is how the separation began. By a belief, I am separate. It's just a belief, I am separate, a person belief. You created a separate identity, a form in your consciousness, and that's how you manifest and incarnate as you. This is how the whole Maya was created. So maybe this is why there's an anger and a rejection, who knows. But this needs to be cleared in humanity. A lot of that negative energy is being, poor Gaia is being shrouded by, if you look at the energy, dark, black sort of energy around her. Because so much fear now is being projected onto poor Gaia. Instead of wonderful planet. Instead of us seeing this beautiful, because it would change if we all did. This is why lightworkers and starseeds are guided to manifest a new earth. Why do you think this thought has been put into the consciousness, the collective consciousness now, of this beautiful earth, new earth, and focusing on this? Why? It's to clear the distortion, because whatever you meant is what you're going to manifest. So to clear the shit out of the collective consciousness of this doom, destruction, and all this nonsense, poof, gone. You see, there is this. So what you should be seeing is not, whatever that, and limit. Put yourself on a diet of cut out the negative predictions, because it's only a reflection of that consciousness. Cut out the negative predictions that you are seeing by light workers and tarot readers and anybody. Cut it out. Remove it. They've got to understand they haven't transmuted that. They're not seeing it, and that's that lesson to think. And they can then go and create that experience. They probably will. So this is the thing. The collective have to understand and overcome that. Not to destroy themselves again, which they have many, many times. You see, from many stories and delusions and mayas they've played, this planet and other planets, wiped themselves out many, many times. This has not been cleared in the consciousness. This is why it repeats. But if you go and focus on Gaia and send that out, because it's just an aspect playing of the Maya, it's an creation of source, the same thing. It's in the story. It's not even there actually. When it falls away, you do not see people, planet. There's no world out there. There's nothing. There's only you. You were told there is. This is all rubbish. All comes from a belief that there's a separate you. And that is a story and a thought and a belief. That's all it is. When you stop that program, poof, you are then reach oneness, unity consciousness, God consciousness, source consciousness. No more illusion, Maya, separate anything. So this energy in the Maya, that experience is going to carry on. This is what they don't realize. The experience is real when you're following it and believing it. You will experience that. So why do you want to experience wiping the planet off or suffering or any of these things? Because you've done it before and you haven't released it. Believing it's fair and believing all this nonsense. Yeah. Well, whatever. You have to believe it to see it. You see, this is what you don't realize. The thing is created here. As anyone, Dr. Joe Dispenza, many are showing you, you change this and the energy. Not only the thought, it's not a parroting. It's not about manifesting. I am this, I am wonderful. You've got to check that it's got to resonate. When you've done all the clearing of all the energies, frequencies, beliefs, definitions, it will not resonate with you at all. And it's gone. And then you'll see the change in the exterior. It's not, I've got to see it first to believe it. No. You will see what you believe, think, and feel. That is what you are going to see, because that is being projected out there. That is your consciousness creating it. So you have to understand, if you do not want to experience destruction of the planet, you've got to stop projecting it, expecting it, believing it. So it means you've got to clear it completely. And that only comes from knowing what you are. You see, overcoming those first layers of victimhood, which is the demonic realms, and all the first two, which is basically not demonic. It's just the first two, the lowest frequencies and vibrations in the field. Okay, so that's your lower two chakras, levels, whatever dimensions, whatever you want to call it in the Maya. Those are the two. Then you've got to overcome all this negative ET nonsense, which is patterns of thoughts from other stories and wars gone on, you see. That's got to come. That's your third. So you've got to get past all of those. Poof, problem solved. Then you don't have any of that. So we've got to, it's a matter, you can see this going on, and my suggestion would be, do not listen to it, because it will absolutely influence the mind, which is trained by fear and programs. It's a habitual pattern of programs of centuries. So you really got to manage that. What you take in the mind, if you're not strong, is going to start, ooh, better just in case. What happens if that's true? Ooh, you see, there always will come in the doubt and fear. That is the Maya. That is the mind. It only comes from thought. It creates. You've got to transcend that. See, do not fall for its stories, and it's little, it will tell you all kinds of shit, as you know from healing and clearing. If you've gone through all those, that's going to do that to me, and you overcome that, and you realize that's nonsense, and then it comes up with something else. That's what the mind does. It runs on that program, because it's been so long running that default program. You see. There we are. So we've got to stop projecting this out there, because you are creating your own catastrophes to experience. It's experience, yes, that's it. The form will experience it, because the form stays in the Maya. You experience it as source, as consciousness. The form will suffer and die, yes. The form will not leave this Maya unless you, as you say, transcend the belief that I am a separate person in a form. The form leaves, or the knowing, the person, the character goes. You will know, you become the one again source, and you watch the body. So yes, you, as they'll tell you, you feel the pain though. You feel the pain of what happens here. This is the thing. But it's not your pain. So you feel pain, you know it's not your body. So, there's non-attachment, as they say. But still, you will feel that. So if you don't want to suffer these things, the collective really needs to, which is not there, but understand. You'll see, this is just a clue. Just go and look at, you communicate, right? Channel beings from higher things. Will they ever have any negative thoughts? Not a chance. They don't expect to believe anything negative, because they understand what they are. They'll know, they'll manifest it. So they do not ever even think of anything negative. It's like, that's it. What happens, happens. And they always have anything, happy, positive. So they're not going to, they don't vibrate and draw disasters and catastrophes to them. This is what's happening. You are manifesting and drawing these things energetically. You are vibrating with it. You are going to be lining up with that. You are drawing these catastrophes, as humanity has done for centuries, to yourself, in your experience. Because you always believe the outside world's creating it. No. Go look at what you're listening to, what you're believing. If you can scroll past all of that nonsense without any worry, fear, doubt, you have cleared it completely. And I scroll many times and hear, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, and we're all going to da 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 da, and I hear one or two words, oh no, gone, gone, gone. That is a story appearing in the one. You choose the story. This is what you're not getting. You're choosing everything as the one. And it will not interfere unless you ask. You've got to say, okay, the you, the form, the character. Okay. The character has to release it in the story, and source is released. You see. So there's a lot of negative. I see so many of it, and it's mainstream, huge mainstream things, because they're at that level. They haven't moved up further. They're just in the fun and the astral, what, and still believing that they're separate. This is a story. I'm a soul. I'm a this and that, and not understanding what they're being shown is only they're being shown it as a fact that this is what's in here, and this is what you are resonating with. So if you don't release it, you will experience that disaster. So what are they doing? Running around telling people, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. We better get ready. Why? Instead of understanding that the self, out of love and compassion, is showing you what your beliefs and you're resonating with, so you can release it and clear it. Listen. So you do not suffer catastrophe, wipeouts, destruction. This is the message that's not being seen. You are being shown this as a fact. This is your belief, definition, and whatever, as a manifester, as the source. This is what you're resonating with. This is a timeline you're on. This is what the experience. Do you want to still go on this road? Yes, let me go and warn everybody. You see, that's going to happen. Now, this comes from experience, because it happened here. When this one woke up, it was doing exactly the same. Oh my gosh, you're going to watch out for that planet and these beings and this and that. This one was so in the shadow. It had to work through. So this one knows what it's talking about. It did it. But you learn to go above that and transmute it. You understand then, oh my gosh, right, oopsie. You see, you are not recognizing, you're denying your own shadow. So what they're doing is projecting their shadow everywhere. This is all you see on media, news, everything now. Whether it's awakened or unawakened, being reflected out. And it's not positive. So when you see light workers and star seeds and or so-called whatever awakened ones telling you about this, understand they're not understanding yet that there's one world and it's going to happen. No. Here. It's held here. It's showing you so you can choose to let it go. As you know, with all lessons and other things you've transmuted. You see? So instead of saying, oh my gosh, this can do it to me, it's showing you, well, no, this is what you're doing. Do you want to carry on playing a victim? No, maybe not. You see? Yeah, exactly. You have that, it's a choice. It's a choice to release it or not release it. But understand, it's showing you this is what you're going to experience if you do not release it. So what do people do? This one did it, jump onto social media and tell people, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, and I saw this disaster, and that was, under this. Why? That is the lowest frequency. And yes, that experience, you can absolutely, it's showing you that you can be on that and you can experience this absolute. So, suggestion is, suggestion is release all of that and do not follow and watch those people anymore. Seek, because it's a blind leading the blind. Each individual, each aspect has to learn and choose its path. That's why there are many manifest. You see, these are just patterns of that consciousness and behavior. Anyway, these were great lessons learned here. Ooh, so many. Because there was so much distortion, huge trauma held in this vessel. So when this vessel woke up, oh my gosh, did it resonate with everything. Wow. Wow. And its shadows, and and wow, did it. Because when you realize everything that you projected out there came from the external, nothing came from source. You were told that there's the devil, there's hell, you were told of all these things. It did not come from you, did not come from within. These are all taught programs and beliefs that humanity was taught. You're bad, you're evil, there's a devil, there's this, you've got to be careful of that. These are all of these things, I've noticed, all of these things that you believe are being told to you by others. Either whether it's news, light workers, truth movements, it's been told to you. It never came from source. And when you have taken it in as your truth or belief and fear resonated with it, it will come through from source or your guides as to show you, hey, this is your truth. Yeah, yes, I'm going to tell everybody about it. Yes, that's fine. You can tell everyone about it, but those that choose to follow you will experience that. But you don't have to. You can experience anything because you are that. And you're not even separate. You're not even the person, the character. That's a complete Maya. You see? The Maya. So what you're going to do is your character, your body is going to experience being destroyed and wiped off the planet, actually. And you're going to be like, oh shit. When the body dies and you leave it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I got to come back and try that again. And you have. You're still doing it. You see. Quite frightening. Anyway, there we are. All right, lovely people. So there we are. This was seen yesterday and was like, wow, sad. And when you've done this for so long and every day and you've worked through this and a lot of self-work, it's constantly clearing, you realize and you start putting the pictures together. But you've got to watch what you're taking in. Don't follow people at your level. You've got to listen to other content. You see, there are contents that are way above you. And then you'll start seeing. But when you're only stuck in your resonance, your little box, you're only being fed back what's here. So how do you get out of it? You see, all you're doing is this is what people don't realize. You resonate with this doom and gloom and that rare reading and prediction and whatever. And all you're going to be fed is that. Because that's what the consciousness does. So you're going to, whatever you believe, see and feel, guess what? That's the content and things you're going to keep finding to confirm it. Yeah, we're going to be wiped out. Oh my gosh, there's going to be this tsunami and that. And the next part, yeah. So you've got your little gang together that you are all wanting to annihilate yourselves, you see. Instead of realizing this is what it's reflecting to you. Everything is only a mirror of all the thoughts and beliefs that the mind is creating. And the mind is so programmed to create doom and gloom and denial, you see. Huge human, massive clearing that needs to be done in the system. First of all, do that and then realize this. There's no truth. There is no ego and separate one. That is the distortion and lie. That you told yourself. There is no ego. There is no separate one. This is the biggest mistruth. You see. There's a form, empty form, a movie playing, but there's nothing in it. There's no character. That is the truth. This gets you to oneness. This is what any guru will tell you. And that's just a belief. So you can get that because you are that. But you've got to, like anything, release the belief that you've been told. Look for it, that you are not. That keeps you separate. And they'll tell you there's no separation. Yes, exactly. There's so many programs that I'm saying. This is all these things are, the TV and movies are a reflection of the collective consciousness. And you can see some are more evident also by areas. So some areas or countries, you can see what is, the density there is wow. So when there's been a huge amount of suffering, there's you can feel it even energy-wise, you see. So look at their presidents or their countries and you can see what's reflected of the collective consciousness. You see, victimhood or suppression or whatever it is, that's all it is. You see, that's all that is going on here. And there's not understanding, and I did 2 videos on this before, but it's still not understood. But that's just the lesson. There we are. It's only the form that suffers. The real self, the form will annihilate itself again, whatever. And maybe that one will keep doing it. Maybe they need, who knows, until they actually get it. See, the form dies anyway. It's just another form will come up and here we go again, the same radio. They'll just keep manifesting, so-called reincarnating, because it's an illusion that you have a body, there's any separate one to carnate, until they get it. It's like, eh. The biggest story is no, there is no separate person. Never has been. They got you to believe that there's an ego or anything separate. There's not any ego, anyone separate. You believe that, and that's what keeps you attached to the Maya, the story, anyway. There we are. That's sad though, but this was shared twice on my YouTube channel. I did 2 videos, and that's denying one's own shadow, because this is what I said. It's not unseeing it, or not even acknowledging it. And then the one is to end all suffering, is exactly explaining that. And the gurus, if they go into detail, they will tell you that. You see, you have to. That's it. You can clear all of that. And this is where humanity is being guided. So why do you think those that are on the awakening path are guided to be positive, to manifest, to do abundant, or the opposite? See this beautiful guy, a wonderful new earth. When they see, they're shown visions of this beautiful thing. Why? Exactly. To change that distortion. You see, shift the collective consciousness. But there's still those that are not, they're following it, they're not understanding what they're resonating with, and where it's been fed back to them is because of that belief. Like everyone sees 111, whatever, right? Same with this one. The minute you clear it, or the minute you seek that information higher, you know the source will also give it to you. Divine guidance. You seek that wisdom and go, wow, that video appears, that solution. Oh my gosh, wow, thank you. You know that. Absolutely divine. You will just be shown, but you need to seek it. The most fundamental thing is you need to understand here is a projection. That's it. And that's it. That's exactly what. So you really got to look at it. Wow. Instead of going on, which there's no judgment there, because this one did it. This is what you see with all the source. You have to learn. When this one woke up, oh my gosh, was it out there? And you resonated with the destruction of. I saw plenty videos. I mean, I was always astraling. I was always out the body, so I was seeing all kinds of things because it was showing not understanding. ET wars, everything you can think of under the sun, delusions, destruction, earthquakes, and blah, 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 blah. And all these things that you see that you bought into you because you had fear. It comes to, so all these negative, they're going to do that to us and overrun us, and oh my gosh, they're under here. So you are then, once you start working through that and you clear it, that does not resonate with you. You won't even follow those stories or those people at all anymore. And as you go, it just goes on. But you can see where they're stuck. You see? And when you really reflect, you'll see that none of it comes from source. All of the stories and fears you have come from media, news, social media, parents, uncles, cousins, history, blah, 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 blah. It all comes from this. It's all programs and distortions in Maya. There is none. There we are. Very sad. So I might do another meditation later or sometime. I'll see if anyone wants to join and to do some clearing of poor Gaia. There are so many. There's a perfect planet. If they got this, which is just, to be cleared, that we sat and projected this, and we thank Gaia, we projected this beautiful planet with full of diversity and abundance, this paradise, it would be here. The collective consciousness would manifest it, but at the moment, the collective consciousness are on echo chambers, resonating their, distortions and illusions and fears and projections massively. Yeah, that's it. They are. Everything that was taken on in the Maya, human stories and programs, are distortions, because you're not even a human. You don't have a body. You never were separate. You're not an ego. That was what manifested you into the Maya and got stuck in this game. The first illusion is I am a separate person. I'm reincarnated. I'm born. Nope. There is no separate person. There's only source. There's only source in existence. That's it. Yes, that's the thing. There's only one. And it does not have a form. That's the one. You see, so that's the first illusion, story, Maya lie that was taken on, and then the rest just followed. Then, as I say, the more it got into, see, the mind, as it started creating fears, distortions, and fear of everything, evil that, and that was going to, and this is why we had such, look at the history of humanity, of the planet. Look how distorted it was, such fear and separated killing and barbaric. That's it, you see. It's not in alignment. So release all of those distortions, because you are absolute oneness, wholeness, and release. We're working through that now. Thank you. Oh no, thank you. You know what? There was enough wisdom here as a child. This one also has played a leader before. Maybe this is why we were stuck in the Maya for so long. This one was a leader in the Maya. We have all been kings, queens, aliens, you've been everything under the sun. I mean, you've been planets, you've been everything. You've been playing in the Maya or experience, because you are source. So first of all, you watch all stories. You don't experience them as such. But when you started falling into the belief, you have experienced and all this nonsense. So this one was a ruler on another planet. One of the not so positive, experiences it played. It played other things as well, good leaders or kings or whatever, but it had one that wasn't else. So when this one was born, no matter what, it always knew that happiness was the most important thing. And for me, the last thing on earth we ever wanted to do was to be, people always said, oh, they want to marry the king and, all these fairy. You fed Cinderella and all these nonsense stories. This is collective consciousness. You see, you all wanted, because you were fed to idolize kings and queens and all this nonsense. This is just illusion. So this is just a showing as well. So this one, everyone always wanted to marry a prince, and and exactly, everyone wants to marry a billionaire or a prince or some nonsense, something like that. This one had the wisdom, thank goodness, that was learned through many Mayas. No. Empathy was there, no. And even if you had a proposal, which one or two were, no, thank you. Why? Because you knew that you would give up that freedom. You see, there's nothing to be envied there. That's envy, that's illusion. There's nothing to be envied in that life because you have no privacy, you have no freedom. Watch them. You've got everyone following you around with their cameras. Yes. You've got everyone following you with their cameras, and you can't just go out and travel and be free because you're going to be flogged or someone's going to try and kidnap you, blackmail you, rob you, whatever else you see, because of the level of consciousness you were at. Very much separate and nasty. And just have a look what's going on there. Everyone thinks they have a right to dictate your life. Oh, he's that, and he's good, and I don't like, oh my, prediction. Shadow. So it was like, no thank you. There's no ways you envied anyone. You see, the amount of hate being projected out there is just, wow. Yeah. It's not understanding that money is not happiness. You actually become more and more isolated. You can't mix with the public because, then you're at risk because, everyone's, oh, whatever. It's just, so, yeah, there was enough wisdom to be like, no, freedom is good. I like that. I'd rather be anonymous than, why would you do that? It's so much suffering. You have no genuine friends, no genuine love. Because in a lower consciousness or unawakened people, they're after your money, they're after your friendship, you can't even make friends because people, they want to idolize you. They don't see you. You see, they only see the money and the car, and, as though it makes them any different. They completely, so, no, there was a great understanding here of, no, thanks, not a chance. Yeah, wow, no. Yes. You see, this experience was had here in the Maya many times. So you're like, nah, we're not doing that again. Stick with the wisdom, you know what I mean? It's overrated. When we return to unity consciousness, oh, wonderful. There won't be that idolization or anything nonsense and this, because you realize, how can you attach to anything? You're not going to want cars and palaces. Why? Because when you really realize, you are not the body. You're not this character. That everything is illusion, and you'll see it. Nothing is actually real and solid. You will stop chasing the money because you're like, ugh. You see, it loses interest when you realize it's not. And you realize everything's you and it's amazing. So your whole perception and perspective changes, and we're going there. So this will all change, thank goodness. And there will not be this, you see, because now you think it's a real. It is part of you. That's all it is. It's all you. So there's nothing to get because it's you. What do you want to get? There is no, you see, there's no separate person. And this will only happen when you get there. There we are. So let's start working on that. Start asking for that maybe and seeking that, and you will then ascend much faster. Instead of realizing watch what you're following and who you're resonating with, and understand it's showing you, oh wow, okay. So because I can tell you, as I said, this one did it big time. It went right through all the demonic realms, all of those things. It experienced everything. Had to learn. Oh my gosh, it's so funny when you realize. And even the astral, what the astral is, you don't even know. You think, oh wow, anyway. It's all just part of the Maya. They're all just different stories. You see. And watch what you put into this mind. Because of its habitual patterning, very negative. Humanity are so used to negativity and expecting the worst and blah, 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 because it's, kind of been a pattern they've kept doing. Because they haven't, you see. Please look at here and do it, and release it and clear it like you would do anything else. All right. Okay. So much love. And please, if you have some time and meditate, send some love and clear some of that very dense energy that's being projected onto the poor planet, onto Gaia. It's just a character in source anyway, but still, she doesn't deserve it. See, look at what she does, and she will. She is so abundant. She brings you food. Everything you need comes from her. Thank you. You too. Thank you. There's only love, because there's only the self. And this is what we have to learn. We've got to release all of this. Do not punish this form. Okay, the form is innocent. The form's got nothing to do with it, actually. It's only thoughts. The thoughts are the problem, not the body, nothing else. And even this one then listened to that programming and did it. And now we understand why the body went sideways. And I'm like, oh. And we were like, okay, You see, there's no rejection of the self, because everything. So by rejecting the body, thinking this is what you're supposed to do, is not the fact, actually. There we are. There's no rejection. It's this understanding and accepting that you're not it, and you're not separate. There is no ego. That is the biggest nonsense. So start following if you really want to get somewhere. Start listening. Some of the old teachings have some truth, but watch out for that, because it is a teaching. A lot of the new non-dual people will tell you. There's a lot of good ones I share. Yes, of course, yes. Yeah, amazing, actually. All right. So let's start. It's what Source is teaching the self, is to project positive, new earth, wonderful. Why do you think it's being there? Trying to override all those, yeah, let's see how it works. The collective consciousness is still very... They don't realize that energy can go nowhere. You cannot escape the self, because you are consciousness. This is only consciousness and energy. So you can't run away from yourself. You can destroy this. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you do is what's going to happen to this form. Not you, the form. The form doesn't leave the Maya. This is why there's stories, and this is why you believe. You have different bodies, and that's it. Everything is, that's what I'm saying. This is a belief. You see, separate energies. There aren't separate people. And good and bad. This is all part of the Maya. This is an illusion that there's a separate person. First of all, creates that. This has got a good energy, bad energy. No. There isn't any. That is this is the most fundamental thing. We do away with the belief that there's any separate ego or anything it has to get rid of. That's the Maya. This is what creates everything afterwards. This is what created the illusion, the Maya, the fall, as they say, from the Garden of Eden, which is what gurus will tell you, heaven on earth, paradise, because it's actually what exists. It's being veiled by the mind and its distorted thoughts and beliefs. It's creating this illusion and distortion. All right. Love and peace to all. Spread that love. Look inside and sit. Whatever comes up, sit and think, wow, why is that? And look into it. It's incredible, fascinating. So just release, 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 clear. Clear it from everything. It's a body mind. Story, but anyway. There we are. All right. And there we are. We will manifest heaven on earth again, but as one. We're going, that's why. So there won't be any of this separation and, sad. The self-destructive behavior, you see, because there's nothing to hate. So I think deep in the subconscious, you hated the form because you blamed the form. The form is this form of separation, you see. So you try, A lot of distortion in the consciousness in the story. And be strict about your diet. Watch what you are listening to, because believe me, even yesterday, I scrolled through here and I heard one or two of them and I was like, no, it doesn't resonate. But then the mind tried this, maybe. And I was like, don't even think about it. Bye-bye. Don't even get any ideas. Don't let the mind even start that. Because once you give it their thoughts, it'll just shh. And then more of them and more of them. This is what happens. You see, whatever you resonate with or think about, the mind will, because it doesn't know it. Oh, you like that. Okay, I'll bring you more. So if you focus on something and listen to it, what the mind does is then, you like, or the consciousness does, source, they want that. So it'll start bringing you all kinds of thoughts and shit which resonate with that. And this was given a while ago to this one, that all thoughts are on same thing, on different frequencies and vibrations. So when you pick up the negative doom and gloom shit, what happens? The mind will then, you want more of that. It will look for every single thought, the consciousness, on that same frequency and vibration. And your mind will start being full with, oh my gosh, more and more and more and more and more and more, until you're like, and then you succumb to the fear. And there we are. Do not give that mind that toe in when it starts to, but just in case, what do you think? Maybe that mind, you're like, no. You see, as the God source, there's only pure wholeness, wellness, love, well-being. That is it. The mind is the one that is, will try and the thoughts. All right. Lots of love. Bye, everybody.